Good morning. I'm Monisa Klein. It's day 2. We're back at the broadcast studio here at GBTA 2021 convention. And with me, I have a longtime friend and partner in the industry. Many of you know Mr. Bob Somers from Delta Airlines. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Monisa. Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you and to be with you and to spend time with you.
Feelings mutual.
Great to see each other in person, right?
I like it. Not on a Zoom call.
Not on a Zoom call.
Face to face. That's what we like these days.
You got it. It's great to be here and to see so many of our industry friends and partners and just doing what we do. Get back together and get business going again, right?
Absolutely.
So what is Delta seeing in terms of travel trends right now? You know, international, domestic, leisure versus corporate. Obviously, leisure was a big part through the pandemic, but what are some trends that you guys are seeing now that you'd like to share?
Yeah, you know, the biggest trend is we're trending towards profitability, towards the positive end. We've been positive through this entire time that this too shall pass. You know, as a company, we went from handing out profit sharing checks in February of 2020 to losing $100 million a day 30 days later.
Unbelievable.
So the impact of COVID, the pandemic on our industry was unbelievable. If you fast forward, though, we're extremely excited. We just reported the first quarterly profit we've had since the beginning of the pandemic, almost 2 years. So that's kind of the track we've been on. We're really excited about it. That profitability was, you know, we're still missing a third of our revenue, the corporates, which we'll talk about. Corporates aren't back, so we'll be focused. The trends that we're focused on is how do we capture that last third of the business? And that's predominantly the corporate business and international, both of which have been basically non-existent for about a year. And we'll be really focused on that. Domestic, as you said, domestic has been carrying the day. Domestic corporate, if we separate domestic and international, domestic has been, you know, for the most part, we're back to about 40% in the corporate arena. 40 to 45% of our spend in the corporate arena is back to 19 levels. That changes every week, and it's up 20 points in the last 3 months or so. So I think we were really on a good trend before the variant hit. By the way, it's B16172. That's what we call the variant because it's easy to remember, a lot easier to remember. But the variant hit and slowed us down, paused us for a while in the corporate arena at least. And, you know, to your point, leisure has carried the day for us from the beginning. We probably went from 80% corporate, 20% leisure to a complete flip-flop during the pandemic. And, you know, while corporate is slow to recover, leisure was not. You know, mountain states, domestic, everybody was going to, you know, the West, everybody's going to the parks and the beaches. And you can't Zoom a vacation. So, you know, that's what we've been saying from the beginning. So leisure has driven the day. On the international side, I think we're seeing improvement on the domestic corporate. We have 95% of our corporates that are traveling. Smaller numbers, but they're traveling, which means they're out and about. We see that number every Friday. We watch that number. It changes. It's trending positively. We had our highest booking and revenue day in the corporate arena last week, pre-Thanksgiving. And of course, Thanksgiving and Christmas, you know, those holidays, we're going to have record loads for that. So international, obviously, we're not quite as fast recovered. So about 80% recovered if you think about, but it's all leisure and it's all, you know, predominantly driven by the beaches. We're really thrilled with the administration's decision to lift 212. We saw immediate improvements on that. International, if you think about transatlantic alone, international when 212, when that came out, the Europe point of sale bookings are now 6 times higher than they were before 212's announcement. Every single day we're seeing Europe, and particularly Europe and transatlantic point of sale booking through the roof. And we're excited about that. Even evidence about the number of international visitors to this that were not going to come here. And now they're here now because of 212. So we're really looking forward to what 2022 is going to be. We think we'll be on the path of full recovery by 23. So it's exciting.
Well, you know, travel looks, I mean, that's fantastic. It sounds like you guys are seeing positive trends, good news with the international travel, you know, sanctions being lifted. So everything is, there's a lot of optimism, right? Moving forward and looking ahead, which is fantastic.
100%,
but obviously, even looking ahead, travel looks a little bit different than pre-pandemic days, right? There's a lot of stress points. A lot of travelers haven't traveled in 18 months. You know, some people have not traveled. I've forgotten how to pack.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have to actually make a list.
This is another trip. I forgot a charger on this trip again.
Right. You know, so we're all kind of out of practice. But travel looks different. There's some stress points. What are you guys seeing on that front, and how are you dealing with some of those things to ease the stress points for travel?
Yeah.
Let's just wait for a second.
You can find a map of the show floor in the mobile app.
So Delta's commitment to cleanliness, safety, and wellness was very strong before the pandemic. It's even stronger now. Arguably, our lowest NPS scores were on clean before the pandemic. Now our highest NPS scores are on clean, and that's here to stay. Safety is number one for us. No matter what, it never will change. So safety and cleanliness is what we've been really focused on through the I'd say all of 21. That was our biggest focus, remains our biggest focus. And our commitments to making sure customers, we figured out early and by talking to our customers, what do you need from us? They needed flexibility, they needed communications, and they needed timely resolution to issues and timely relevant information on the truth about what's going on out there. So we focused on that, literally immediately. Safety was always, it's here to stay. The entire year of 21, we did thousands of videos, hundreds of trips to the airport with customers where we really could walk them through what we were doing, because we figured out that the answer to the question is, what do you need, is confidence. Customers have to have confidence to get back on. So we were selling confidence. In the absence of revenue, we had to sell confidence, and that's what we focused on. Our sales communications team did an unbelievable job making sure that our customers had everything they need. Everybody from Ed to me to everybody, talking to them about what we're focused on, what we're doing. So that will change. From that, we created what we call the Delta Care Standard. And that was what we committed to our customers, like, this is what we're going to do. I said many times that this should not be a competition, who's cleaner, who's safer, who's more focused on it. But it should our customers have to know how important it is to us. And the Delta Care Standard gave us the opportunity to walk them through all the things we're doing at the airport, on board, in the jetways, you name it. And what we learned from them was, we're concerned about what's going on in your airplane. We feel comfortable with Delta. The ecosystem is what concerned us. And that was a lot about, so how do we fix that? How do we create that other than being on board? And certainly everything we did on board has been from the mask mandate that we had on board that still does, to the middle seat blocking. All of those things were stress points. The first thing our customer said, what stresses me is social distancing at the airports and on board. So we were the first to block seats and the last to unblock them. That was huge for our customers, because that was the biggest stress point they had. And if you think more about that, we're continuing to look at now, what are the new stressors? We have customers every day that we are asking to, with walking through the process, what's the biggest stress points? That's what we're now focused on. So things like, we're going to have a slew, Manisa, in about 2 weeks, we're going to have a slew of people that have never traveled, first-time travelers, never traveled or haven't traveled in 2 or 3 years. So they're going to have a different stress point than the business travelers that have been. So they're worried about the whole trip, period, not just the trip and the masks and all the things that people have been experiencing. So what are we doing to focus on that? So that's what you're hearing, tons of announcements about the biometrics that we're doing. What are the stress points? The stress points are when you get to the airport, when you're going through TSA, when you check in TSA, when you're getting on board, when you're baggage claim. And so we're building technology around dealing with those stress points. So the biometrics are a big piece of that. Touchless, making everything as much as we can touchless. The things we're doing at the airport to make sure the experience is, what if you got to the airport and never touched your bag again until you got to your car? So we're building out technology. All the technology that we're creating is on addressing the stress points that our customers and employees, for that matter. We have done everything you can imagine, things I never thought we would be doing, including hiring a chief health officer. We now have a chief medical officer at Delta Airlines, Dr. Ting, who spoke yesterday at the general session. And he's really our architect for our employees and our customers, what are the stress points and what are we going to do to alleviate those going forward, so that customers get on our aircraft and come through the travel experience with a much better, whether it's, the biometrics we talked about, but what can we do to alleviate all of the stress points? And wellness is a big piece of that now. And the vaccinations and things we're talking about, with our employees, what are the stress points for our employees? People at the airport have been highly stressed. Ticket counter people, and our sellers are highly stressed. Arguably, we work harder now for less money than we've ever made, but we know that we have to do that to get customers back on board. So I think it's, relieving stress is going to be the key, and that's why we hired Dr. Ting, and he's helping us map out that road plan for employees and customers.
Wow, well, these are all great examples. I mean, I've been watching you guys through the pandemic, and you guys haven't been sitting back. I mean, you've been clearly focused on getting, addressing all of these issues, and really thoughtful. I love the direction that Ed Bastian is taking you guys through, and you and your whole team. It's really been fun to watch you guys.
Yeah, pushing people to the app. I think one of the things we talked about the last time you and I got together was the emergence of the app.
Yep.
And that was before COVID.
Right.
And the importance of the app is just second to none now, because everything we're doing to communicate with the B2B and B2B2C, we're pushing it through the app. So,
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So with all this said, what are your thoughts on the future of the airline industry? Looking at 2022 and years ahead, years beyond that, what are your thoughts on the future of the industry?
Well, you and I have been doing this a long time. And I was kind of hoping I never went through another one of these before I rode off into the sunset, but we are. We're on the tail end of it. And I looked at it as the biggest challenge of my career. In my company's history of my company, we've been through 9/11, Chapter 11, economic downturns. We've been through it all. The one thing I'll tell you that this industry and my company particularly, the one attribute that has always been there is resilience. So this industry is resilient. We have been through the worst this past year. I don't know how it could get any worse. The impact was dramatic. We lost a lot of friends that took early out packages. We were fortunate not to have any furloughs, but it was because our employees took 30, 45, 60-day leave of absences with no pay.
Which I thought was brilliant. I mean, given the situation, I thought that was a brilliant move on your part.
It saved us from no furloughs and to get to where we are today. But the resilience of our employees, I will tell you that we're extremely excited because we believe that travel is essential.
Absolutely.
We believe that no one better connects the world is our motto. And we believe that that's absolutely never been truer than right now. And some of if you look at November, December, people are going to be hanging off the rafters. I mean, everybody the pent-up demand is unbelievable, both for business and for leisure.
Yes.
And I think we'll see the holiday periods, knock on wood, operational excellence will be at the forefront. Safety will be at the forefront. A lot of first-time travelers. But that's going to be a precursor to what 22 is going to be. So we've said many times we think we'll be recovered to about 75% by the end of the year, somewhere between 80 and 100% by the end of next year. And 23 is when we'll really be back. And we'll never be the same. This industry and my airline will never be what we were in 2019, and we're building towards that. But I also think we're going to be better, we're going to be cleaner, we're going to be safer, and we're going to be better suited for the long haul. So we're very excited about it. One thing I'll tell you is we would not be where we are today if it wasn't for our dedicated employees, but also our customers that have stood by us through all this, helped us. Everything we do, listen, act, listen has been our motto for 15 years. And we listened, we acted, and we listened. That's why we think we're going to be in good shape, because our customers are telling us what we are doing is following the right path, and they can't wait to get back on, and we can't wait to have them back on the airplanes.
Well, Bob, I just want to fly Delta listening to you.
Come on,
tell you, I love your enthusiasm. It's so contagious.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
You're such a great leader and so highly regarded in the industry.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for spending some time with me today.
Thanks for having me, Lisa. Great to see you.
And I look forward to seeing you on the dance floor.
We'll do it. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everybody.
Monisa Klein here at the broadcast studio here at GBTA 2021.